Introducing the PDC World Darts Championship.
Good evening and welcome one and all to the Online Darts Fallout Bar as we bring night or day 13 of the 2026 Paddy Power World Darts Championship to a conclusion. Dan Simpson joining you here from up in Teesside. I am joined from a few hundred miles to the west of me by Cam McFarlane and a few thousand miles further west of me, all the way from over there, Dave Connolly. Gentlemen, how are we this evening?
Good, mate. Yeah, really good. Good to be back on again. Good to have three of us on again. It's always a little bit more fun with three of us and able to sort of go through it and sort of not put myself under pressure with predictions as I did last night with Dave, where I dropped myself in it by being second and not having a clue where I was going. So it's always nice when there's that extra little gap.
Yeah, such a fun day of darts, up there with probably top three from pre-Christmas, and we got some things really right yesterday, and we got some things very wrong, and I'm excited to be on a back-to-back because then I can kind of go into my predictions and definitely talk about the things I got very wrong because there was a good amount of it, which is what we love to see.
Yeah, I agree. I think today was. I'm struggling to find a better, if I look, whilst there might have been individual games here and there, I think if you look at a full 8 games, I'm struggling to come up with a better one that we've seen so far, because I think today, even where we didn't see a really enthralling, tense game, we still saw some interesting things happen. We had former world champions, we had 3 former world champions playing today, with slightly different feints, and it was an incredibly interesting day. Chat room's busy already, as I think we expected it to be. This is our last show. It's our last show this side of Christmas, not last show of the year. We will be back.
Oh, there'll be a few of them yet.
We will be back on the 27th, folks, because you are only without us for a couple of days. Make sure you get involved in the chat room, both with some views on what happened through the course of today, and as well when we come to predictions. We are hoping to have the order of play confirmed for the 27th as we move through this show. I'm pretty sure we've got that, I think, already on screen from Sky. We're hoping to have a little bit more info on that as we go along. So we will be doing some predictions. But first and foremost, we start the day where the day started, and that was all the way back just after lunchtime today when Ryan Mikl took on Johnny Tata. And this one, Cam, I thought, again, it was, as we will say quite a bit tonight, it was a bit nip and tuck, and you could change your mind several times as this went on. And I think it was another really solid showing from somebody without a tour card, which we've seen quite a lot of so far this year, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. I think it just shows you how much good darts there is out there that you can play now away from the PDC Tour. And these opportunities for people that when they are rocking up on the biggest stage of them all, they're just not phased. Nothing sort of seems to worry anyone anymore. And yeah, really good game this to start us off. Like, there were better games in terms of overall sort of standard if we want to go off the averages and everything else, but in terms of drama and kicking us off early on in the afternoon, you couldn't have asked for much more than this. Tata obviously getting into a 2-0 lead, and then a little bit of a wobble. I think
it's a good way of
it's fair to say. I mean, set 4 was horrendous, and then sort of picked it back up again in set 5, but by that point Mikl had got himself into the game and there wasn't much stopping him at that point.
No, Mikl, Dave, is an interesting player, isn't he? Because he's becoming a regular, a mainstay. We've seen him on tour for, you forget that it's almost 10 years now. I think the first time we saw him, consistently playing on the Pro Tour was back in 2016. So going into next year, it's sort of 10 years of Pro Tour action. In that time, we haven't seen a lot of steps forward in his game. He generally reaches about the same level of everything that he plays in. Do you think that there is still another level in him? Is he still just has he just about once again hit his ceiling with this win, do you think?
Yeah, it's hard to say because he's one of those players, like you said, who has been around for a while, but he isn't even 30 years old. And you would like to think, some players are not quite at their peak by the time they're 29, depending on when they started playing, things like that. He's just such a steady Eddie. He has, a lot of composure when he's up there. I keep bringing up, but it's one of the bigger stages we saw him on last year when he was really composed in a lot of moments against Littler and ran into a complete buzzsaw in that deciding set. And here he goes down 2-0. He never shows too much frustration, and he just sticks in. And it just seems like he always genuinely believes he has a path to victory. He had that weird one, I believe, at the last Players Championship. I mentioned this last night against Gary Anderson, where he was down like a hold or something, and he somehow scraped that one out. So yeah, he's got a lot of composure. I don't know if the talent is there for him to go any further in this tournament. I know that's a little harsh, but just kind of is where he is in the tour right now. But I do like his mentality, his composure, and he showed a lot of that in this match, because I think most would have folded, and I think Johnny maybe struggled with that lack of experience.
Yeah, so just on that lack of experience, so Johnny's come through. His disqualification was through the Pro Tour, or the Australian Tour, wasn't it? But we also saw him have a really, really solid run in that Australian Premier League as well. I think he finished second in the league stage of that, making finals night. And he does, to me, I don't know what the two of you think, he feels like a player who is benefiting from more and more competitive darts at a decent level, where other people around him are of a decent level. And I think we see this guy again. I think we see him here next year for another go, and possibly for a couple of bits in between, perhaps, with World Series events and other things that give him a bit of a route into stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree. I think he looks like he's got the game for this stage, and for the bigger moments, that he's a player that is able to handle it and able to put in the performances still, and if anything, sort of raise it slightly when he needs to as well. So yeah, he came out on the wrong side of it today, but still, again, I mean, bloke's 33. Like, he's still young. He's still got a hell of a long time in this sport. Like, we've seen people still playing at 71, for God's sake. Like, he could have another 38 years and still keep going. So I mean, that's an anomaly, and we're not going to see everyone doing what Paul Lim's doing, but he could comfortably have another 20 years. So the more and more experience he gets, and the more time playing against, like you say, top quality players, and playing week in, week out against people like Whitlock and the rest, it's something that's only going to benefit him and only going to benefit the sport, essentially.
Yeah, I think we might brush on to Ryan Mikl a little bit later, because without any spoilers, we will mention his opponent. So it'd be interesting, because it's certainly a game at that stage of the tournament that perhaps none of us at all picked pre-tournament to ever happen. So we'll brush on Ryan again a little bit later on. But for now, we'll move on to game 2 this afternoon. And, everybody knows that the lads from the Northeast always get my absolute utmost support. And I was absolutely convinced, if I'm honest, at 2-1 down, that Callan Ridds didn't have doesn't currently possess the mentality and ability to gain control of himself to fight back. And I saw so much development in that side of his game. I was hugely impressed, Dave. Yeah,
I was with you. I mentioned on our predictions last night that I was backing Daryl Gurnie, because I think he's one of the more calm-headed, yes, he's a bit of a fiery character, but when it comes down to hitting a target late in a match, he's one of the top out there. And we saw that at the World Cup final. We've seen that in the back half of the year. And we saw that against Bo. And he just has this ability to compose himself in big moments. And I thought, if this goes 4 or 5 sets like we're expecting, I want to be backing Daryl Gurnie to get it done over Callan, who has struggled with that kind of mentality in recent years. And boy, did he show me wrong. He was absolutely breezed through that 4th set with a break of throw and holding twice to get the whitewash there. And when they went to those, again, same spot where they went to those extra legs in the 5th set, you just kind of back Daryl to figure it out and maybe pull out a big ton plus finish against the throw and kind of make things go his way. But when when he's on and focused, his throw is gorgeous. And when he's just in that slot, he looks, at time, he gets these little bursts where he looks unplayable. And he got that burst at the perfect time and was able to walk away with this thing. So I don't think Daryl will be too upset with how Worlds went. He took down, he was in one of the weirder spots of the first round and was able to take Bo out. And, he fell to a talented performance from Callan. So, good on him. And you never know. I mean, he did it last year. Let's see how much further he could go. But he feels like one of those guys outside the top 32 who could give almost anyone a game.
Yeah, I said it, I said it in our sort of little group chat earlier. Like, I'm a massive fan of Callan Ridge. And I just didn't genuinely believe that a lot of this game would come down to who was the better darts player. Like, I just didn't. I thought it would be who can hold it together and who can keep their calm. And I thought the experience, the amount of times that Daryl Gurnie's been on that stage, albeit that this hasn't traditionally been a particularly happy hunting ground for Daryl Gurnie. We've seen him make major finals, we've seen him lift major trophies, repeated semi-finalists, but Alexandra Palace has never been quite the place for Daryl Gurnie. Now, Cam, we've seen the World Cup win this year, but what's next for Daryl Gurnie? What sort of a player is he becoming? Is he almost going to become, do you think, like a top 32 gatekeeper, or is there a route back to the top of the game, do you think?
I don't know. It's a really tough one because we see flashes of it. And like you say, we saw the World Cup win and him being the one that was hitting all the big doubles under pressure and doing everything that he needed. But we're not seeing him go far enough, are we? We're not seeing it translate into anything when he's on his own. And he's certainly playing better. Like, his standard at the moment is way above what it's been for the last 3-4 years. He looks better. His game looks better. The darts look like they're going in better. I mean, other than the fact that I think he must be the worst darts player in the world when he's hit the first 2 treble 20s trying to hit a third one. Like, he couldn't buy a 180 today. Like, I've never seen anything like it. Like, the first 2 were perfect every time and could not buy a 180 every time. But there's certainly a route back up there. But the problem for him is, although he's playing better, so is everyone else. So
yeah, that's it. And then there's 10 more people than there was a few years ago that are playing at that level as well.
Like that top 32 used to be like, you got in there and you were pretty much in there for as long as you wanted to be in there. It's not that anymore. Like, you've got to keep improving, otherwise you're out of there. And as soon as you're out of there, you're in massive trouble for trying to get back in there.
Yeah, I mean, and we have. I think you did right, because we have seen players, come through, get tour cards, and then make huge assaults up through the ranking within 2 years. They are qualifying for things and they are picking up. And it seems like every year, like, yes, we know that Q skill's not the perfect system, and it doesn't get us all the best dart players in the world holding a card. But what it does consistently deliver is extra people every year. And there's always a handful or 1 or 2 that do make that push. It's continually. And then we're seeing, the likes of Daryl Gurnie and Dimitri Vandenberg and Peter Wright and Michael Smith. And once you start to fall away, it's very, very hard to regain that top spot, isn't it?
Yeah. And the flashes for Daryl are there. And kind of like what Cam was saying, we didn't see that probably most of 2024 and the beginning of 2025, where, I mean, this second set, I believe he averaged like 110. It was like a 5-minute set. He dominated. So, the scoring phase is still probably the shaky part of his game. And the doubling seems to have gotten better. He can pull out a few ton plus finishes when he needs them. That kept him in this a little bit. That pretty much won him the match against Bo. So it becomes a question of, is this just who he is at this point? Does he have that burst in him to, like you were saying, get back towards, top 32, maybe even flirt with top 16? I would guess the answer is no, but no one, including me, saw him kind of finishing the year the way he did. And maybe that World Cup final did give him a lot of, you hear guys say all the time, it gives them a world of confidence, and you don't see much from them after that. And maybe it was a bit of a one-off, but it seemed like it did something for him. And we'll see how 2026 treats him. But yeah, I don't think he has anything to be ashamed of with this performance. Callan just kind of timed it well and kicked it on when he needed to.
Yeah, he did. He did that. The 2 167s as well, just ridiculous. He nearly had another one at the end as well, didn't he?
Like, really impressive. And that was, again, we've seen amazing stuff from Callan. And I don't think the thing that's ever held Callan back is probably his ability to throw a dart. I think there's loads of other things that get in the way sometimes of him just being able to stand there and hit and get on with hitting the board. And the more that he can develop his ability to either put that in a box or control that emotion. There was a few times today where we've seen him go through that before, and we've seen big, quite extreme reactions to it, quite negative. And then not just the physical outbursts, but in the leg that follows that. And that was the difference. Is we did get a few snarls and shouts and frustrated elements, but then that seemed to have been forgotten when he went through the next 3 darts, and that's the key. You can have a release, but the problem with Callan previously, he was have a release, and it would take him 4 or 5 legs to get back on what he was doing, and before you know it, the game's gone. Hugely.
I think fair play to him today as well, because apparently his grandfather's not very well at all, and I saw an interview with sort of Via Play later on after the game, and he just wanted out of there, and he's obviously clearly having to do all his media commitments, but he just wanted to get home to the family. So there's plenty going on in the background. So to produce what he did under that pressure with everything else going on in the background just shows you the character of the man as much as anything.
Yeah, so and I tell you what, it's no short drive. He's about 30 miles north of me, Callan.
Yeah,
on the same road.
It's a long way back.
He'd have had to drive past our house almost to get up there, but he's about 30 miles north of us. So, and it is no short, easy journey for at this time of night, at this time of year. So, good luck to Callan doing a Chris Rea, RIP, driving home for Christmas all the way up the M1. Right, game number 3. And because, once again, didn't disappoint. And I thought this was a really tasty game on paper. I thought it was a really good game on paper. I thought it was an even better game in the flesh, really. And I wasn't sure. I don't know. I'll come to you, Dave, because you mentioned your picks last night, and I wasn't on the show last night, and that meant I didn't have to make a pick on this, and I would have really struggled. So share with the group. Did you get it right, or how did you get on?
If I remember, I teed up Scott. I was all over. I was like, "Oh, Scott's gonna," and then at the last second, I was like, "But I have to go with Jermaine," and that's kind of how the match played out, because even when it was 2-0, you just didn't think Scott was going to go down without a fight here. There was just no way, the showman that he is, and he was so close in the first 2 sets. The scoreline did not match what happened in the first 2 sets. I mean, they got to a decider in both. I believe Scott got broken at the end of the second one. And then he did a lot to fight back. And Jermaine just has that ceiling that he tapped into in that 5th set that a lot of players, a lot of players outside of the top 8 or top 10 just don't possess. And when you have that as that kind of FU card that you can pull out of your back pocket in a moment once in a while, when you're able to just do that and rock up and completely demolish him in the 5th set, it's pretty valuable in a tournament like this. And he showed that. And it also, my biggest concern going into this match was how Jermaine would handle any level of adversity, because we've seen him struggle sometimes when it comes to the big pressure moments and times where things aren't going necessarily his way. And when that 5th set came along, you were just, I thought Scott was going to take it. I really thought he would, be more composed, be more used to a moment like that and the big stage. And Jermaine, I saw something that I probably needed to see out of him if I wanted to back him any further in the tournament. Yeah, good on him. Kept his composure. Good on Scott for getting a win and almost breaking through here with everything he's gone through in the last few months. I know he likes to downplay the little bout of dartitis we've seen from him, but it was just nice to see him up there being himself. Had the no look 180. A few big moments in that third and fourth set. But yeah, what a great match, and good on Jermaine for kind of clutching up there in the final moments.
Yeah, I hate giving away spoilers, but everyone knows the results. And I want to just pull on something that came. I don't know if you saw, Cam, Gary Anderson's interview later in the evening. And when Gary Anderson was asked about Jermaine Wamina, and he said, and this, I think they said, well, and I know Gary knows how to play the game and he knows how to do an interview, but I think they said, well, you've played him 8 times, you've beat him all 8 times. And Gary Anderson said quite quickly, he went, "This isn't the Jermaine Wamina that I played before. Like this is a different, but this is a different. Now, this is not the bloke I beat 8 times. This is a different fella now." And then we've seen, so Jermaine's been on the Pro Tour for 10 years. Like 2015 was his first year on tour. In 9 years, he'd never won a thing. And he didn't win a thing in 9 years. And then all of a sudden, at the back end of this year, he picked a win up on the Pro Tour, round 22. And then he picked a second win up on the Pro Tour. We saw that semi-final at the Players' Championship finals, and not just making a semi-final, but playing very, very well to do so, like turning people over where he shouldn't, averaging massive. Like this, look, and again, because probably benefiting from the falls of some of the other big name players out of that top end of the game, he's like encroaching massively on that top 16. He's going to go into the top 16 in this, next 6 months or so because of money coming off and things like that. It's a real player on the rise, and I didn't think he had it in him. I'm happy to be proved wrong, but it's very impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very, very impressive. Like you say, I don't think I ever thought he was really one that was going to make the leap. He's always been talented, but there are far too many frailties in the game for my liking, for someone that would be making the top 16. But yeah, he's flying right up there. Like I think he's 17th as it stands at the moment. Like another win, and he's pretty much going to be on his way up there.
Yeah, I mean,
so
Daniela just mentioned in the chat there, the year to date, he had an amazing 2015. Year to date, he's 12th.
Yeah, which is seriously impressive from him. I think what was impressive for me today is, like, we've got to get the phrasing because Carmen's not here to do it himself, but it's doing the right things at the right times. Yeah, those first 2 sets, he went in the 5th leg of both of those sets, he hit an 11 dart, 1 on throw and 1 against throw. And that put him 2 sets up in a game that was really, really close. And it's just that timing. And obviously, it took a lot for Scott to fight back from there. And it just felt like in that final set, he sort of ran out of steam a little bit. But also, he just wasn't given an opportunity either by Jermaine, just making sure that he performed and he made sure he upped it back again to where he needed to be, mid-90s and solid on the outer ring. And he just seems to have that level now. And he seems to be in a spot where, I say, Gary knows what he's doing and what he's saying when he says it. He's not someone you want to draw at this point.
No, God, absolutely not. Because he is one of these players, and sometimes we say, like, the peaks and troughs aren't great, because Jermaine's peak is bonkers. Like, he is a player that can, and we've seen he'll come out and average 111 and just blow you away. And he'll do it because of the pace that he plays at as well. It gives you whiplash. Like, all of a sudden this bloke's rattling 180s in and he's averaging 110 and you're thinking, shit, I can't get round to the back in time to like steady myself. And it's overwhelming. But I think the most impressive thing that I like so far, which we've never seen from him previously, first of all, he started to pick some pots up and he started to win properly on the Pro Tour. But he's actually sustained this level now across months. He hasn't had a good tournament, which you've seen previously. We've seen him go and have a run and make a quarterfinal, make a semi-final, and then odd bits here. I think what I think everyone needs to start to be worried about, which Gary Anderson probably is that this is now a period of high performance that's sustaining, and it's becoming the level that he plays at rather than a good patch.
And something that they've pointed to, you've heard a lot of analysts point to, is he's just slowed down a fraction with the drawback and with his overall throw. I think he's a lot like Ricky, where he can get really into the pace of the game. And when he gets nervous, he's really going, it's called the machine gun for a reason. He's really firing them in. And I've just noticed he's just slowed it down a fraction. And we've seen the same thing with Ricky. I don't think it's a coincidence that Ricky's playing some of the best darts of his career, because he's slowed things down just a touch. And you see when he gets nervous.
Rock as well is another one that we'll come on to him later on. There seems
something else,
a little bit of a pause, and it just.
And it's something that Luke Humphreys has talked about recently, where he's just taken a little bit of a pause, and he says he feels like he has so much more control. And I think in the macro context of a match where the rhythm is really, really quick, but also just with your 3 darts, when the rhythm is maybe you're doing it so autopilot, you're not even thinking about the dart. And when you just take that little pause, I think that might be what's working for him right now. And I don't think it's a coincidence you're seeing it work for him. You're seeing it work for Ricky. You're seeing it work for Luke Humphreys. And I just wonder if other players who are maybe hard stuck, like we were saying, Jermaine's not, he's 37. He's been on the tour for a while. Guys who are hard stuck and not able to get into that top 32, top 16, are they going to start looking at their throws, some of our faster players, and saying, why am I doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results? Something has to change. So it's really inspiring that he just made maybe a small tweak like that, and it's completely changed his game. It's a wild sport that something like that can do this to your career.
It certainly is. Very, very impressive, though, and exciting to see what comes next, both in this tournament and across the next year. The main event, because that's how it works in the afternoon. Main event's on last, evening's third. The main event of the afternoon session saw another former world champion leave the tournament. Now, I know Murk is he's actually one of 2 remaining players in this tournament that is flying so under the radar that he doesn't have a Wikipedia page yet. Yeah, somebody's probably on with creating that as we've got some geeks in the chat room. I'm sure somebody's working on it. I've got sort of 2 places to go and 2 angles with this, Cam, because, and I don't know what everyone predicted yesterday because I had a busy evening, but did I think that Peter Wright had it in him to go out averaging a number that began with a 7 with a bit of a whimper? Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Did I truly?
So did we. We both had the upset here.
Did you? I was going to say, but did I truly believe that he would get done by someone without a tour card? I thought if Peter Wright was going to get turned over like this by a non-tour card holder, it would happen in the opening round. Like that. And I thought once he'd got in and won a game, it would take, a name to get rid of him. Yep. But this was just a disaster, wasn't it?
There you go, Jamie. Jamie's got a fact about Arno Murk, therefore he is now in charge of the Wikipedia page. Get it done.
Yeah, get it made. Yeah. And I assume that the only reason Jamie's got that fact is he is in some way related to Gary Thompson. Or he was in the room. Jamie, were you the marker? It's all he's chalked it up. It was just a mess, wasn't it, Cam?
Honestly, we've had a really good day of darts today, and all I've got to say about this game is it was shite. Peter Wright was rubbish. Arno Murk, well played, professional performance again, and good luck in the next round, because I don't even want to talk about any more of this. It was a painful watch. Wright just looks mentally gone. It's you got no idea what he's doing. I honestly thought at some point he was just going to start bringing 3 separate darts to the stage, because he swapped them around that much and he didn't even know what he was doing. But it's just, honestly, I think he's finished. I think he's done. I don't think he wants to be there, and he's showing in his darts.
Dave, this wasn't a case of a qualifier, and we'll talk about some of them. We'll talk about some of them later on. A debutant. It wasn't a case of a debutant coming and playing out of his skin and raising his game to play against a former world champion and showing that he can compete at that level. This was 9-2 in legs, and if you're Peter Wright, you're gonna have to really come home and have a solid think, because I don't know if it's good that there's not a lot of darts. Because I think, if we're in that busy period, if this was the match play and there's loads of darts.
Loads of darts, mate. You've got fucking thousands of them.
But no, there's that coming up in the calendar immediately. Because I think if this is after the match play, almost everything comes a bit too thick and fast, and you don't have time to reflect. You just keep turning up to the next tournament, and sometimes you've got 3 days, then a Pro Tour, 3 days, another major on the telly, then a Pro Tour, but he's going to have to go home and sit for quite a long time now and think. And he's not playing World Series events. He's not playing in the Premier League. Peter Wright's got quite a lot of time, sort of sat at home on the practice board thinking about things now, and I'm not sure what decision he's going to come to, if I'm honest.
He's in danger of falling out of the top 32, and he's going to have a lot of time in 2026 to think about it because of all the events he's not going to be able to qualify for and thus defend. When you get out of that 32, it is slippery, especially not just because of not being able to qualify for things that you have to defend when you were previously in the top 32, but the fact that there's so much new talent coming in, like we said. I mean, there's still a handful of guys left who could get a tour card just from this event. We already talked about that earlier in our chat. So I don't think he gets back in the top 32, and I think he's in danger of flirting with loss of a tour card like next year. It would take a lot, but he's not doing anything inspiring. It's not even close. This isn't like MVG where he's just not at his best, but he's still around there and he's pumped in a ton today. It's nowhere near, and it's hard to watch, and it's frustrating. And I'm kind of giving up. We both had the upset. I think I gave Peter a set because you just thought he'd maybe put it together for 10 minutes, and he couldn't even put it together for 3 darts. I mean, it was a really hard watch, and I don't want to take away from Arno Murk, who I thought played really well. He's probably been, for me, the most impressive qualifier we've seen. He's up there playing like he already has a tour card with his composure, and his throw looks really sound. He's not wimping it at doubles. He's firing right at them. Really impressed with him, and I'm giving him a fighting chance to go even further. I haven't seen anything that makes me doubt him. Even any big moments in this match where Peter looked like he had a chance to get back into it, he shut the door. So I would like to give him a little bit more props, but yeah, it's hard to when your opponent rocks up with one of the lowest averages we've seen at any phase of this tournament.
Yeah, before we move on, because it is a dour conversation. I'm sure me and Phil are going to have it to death on the live lounge in weeks to come. But Peter Wright is defending £177,000 this year. It's very, very difficult to see where that comes from, isn't it? Very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when he's not going to be qualifying for half of it.
Well, that's it. I mean, another win for Ricardo Petresco and Andrew Gilvin, and he's out the top 32 before the end of this event. So he's right in trouble at that point, and he's going to drop like a stone, and it's going to be at the point where we're looking at his ranking at the end of next year going, is he going to keep his tour card next year? Or
no, because at the minute, let's be honest, it doesn't look like he's going to go to the match play, and that's a big it's a big step, big loss. But it's also, I don't even think it's just the money, it's the significance of that, isn't it? It's almost the being humbled, the humility of for a player like him to not be there. And we've seen, I think none of us have been shy on going in 2-footed on Barney, the sort of really lackluster, comeback that we've got at the minute. But at least he's still qualifying for stuff. He's still at those tournaments, and I think Peter's going to slip beyond that. In fact, we can, we're pretty certain that that's what's going to happen.
And it's going to test his desire to play, because when you're going this way, when you're climbing and you're a rising star, you want to go to the Euro Tour qualifiers. You want to be at all the Players' Championship events. You want to do these things. When you're falling and now you have to be at every Players' Championship event in order to maintain your ranking, when you have to be at these Euro Tour qualifiers in order to try to make it in and defend even, is that fun when you're what's he? I believe he's in his mid-50s, 55, I believe, and you're falling like a rock. I mean, I just don't. I don't see how that's going to be enjoyable for him, and I think he's going to have a lot to think about in 2026, like you said earlier, Dan.
Yeah, and it is a desperate shame because, like I said, Phil Bars is doing Chris Rea at the minute. He's doing Chris Rea impressions, driving home for Christmas. Because I was trying to say,
I think he'll struggle to be doing Chris Rea. I think he's.
We haven't got the Mikl van Gerwin interview, but I think it's going to be a tasty one for us, because when we get it into the back end of our YouTube channel, you guys get to see it. I think Michael van Gerwen has, I want to say, gone in 2-footed. I think he's Eric Cantona, Peter Wright. I think Michael van Gerwen.
Yeah, I've not seen it yet. I was just trying to get a little
headline, which I think is just Michael van Gerwen tells Peter Wright it's time to retire. So it'd be interesting the next time those two get into a room together. Right,
it's not going to be very often. I think basically MVG knows he's quite safe because he's not going to see them.
He's not going to bump into him. Peter's not qualifying for any of the things Michael's playing.
He'll have forgotten about it by the time he sees it.
Yeah, it'd be an extra. Oh, the seniors isn't there anymore. They could have been on this. Could have been about 10 years' time on the seniors. Right, moving in to the evening, and I have been so excited to talk about this match because, like, I don't know where to start, if I'm honest. Like, I genuinely don't know where to start. This was one of the, well, it was the best, for me, it was the best game of the tournament so far. It was
by a long way.
It was.
There's been some crackers.
Another absolutely unbelievable performance. Like, I watched this guy, so I watched Justin Hood. I'd never seen him play darts before until I was in Minehead the other week. And at the Players' Championship finals, I became aware of him. And I left the press room and went and watched him by the side of the stage because I was so captivated by this fella and the way that he, from the walk on and the way he engaged with the fans and but not only that, the way that he threw darts. And this last couple of months from the Players' Championship finals, but then now, that was the third highest average of the tournament so far. He is in the process dispatched the world number 6. What a performance, Cam, from Justin Hood. What a guy.
What a performance from them both.
Yes, yeah, I'll give that.
But to come out on the winning end of this, averaging 103 for 29 legs, and just relentlessly battering the treble 20 like he did. I think he hit 6 of them in that final set, which I know the final set was a long one, it was 11 legs, but even so, under that level of pressure, with someone who just kept coming back at you and just kept firing in ridiculous finishes to keep himself in the game and keep it going. It was so impressive for someone that we haven't really seen a lot of, and he's not got any experience on that stage other than his first round tie that he came through against Nick Kenny with. He played well, but he wasn't pushed massively in the way that he was in this game. So to hold it together the way he did and come out on the right side of it, just huge respect for Justin Hood.
Yeah, I mean, how disappointed, Dave, is Danny Noppert going to be? In terms of, yes, he's obviously going to be gutted that he's out of the World Championships. But, if you are Danny Noppert, can you take any solace from that? Can you look back and say, I played, Danny Noppert, that was the 5th highest tournament average so far. He played superbly. It's the best losing average of the tournament. Absolutely amazing. But can you take any comfort from that? Or is it just a case of, I had to, if I'm going to get in that Premier League, I had to really show them this was my one chance, and I've let it slip from my grasp against a player that I should nearly always beat?
When it was 2-0 and he was on the brink of getting whitewashed, I think that was probably the thought. I was thinking that. I thought, man, he had such a quality year. For him to go out this way, that's I would have taken no solace. The way that it went, the way that it ended, it just got silly at one point, and both of them showed so much bottle in the big moments. The 157 he hit was just hysterical darts. I was giggling at my television, it was just so silly. And if they use this as any sort of case, I'm not saying he should or shouldn't. Any sort of case against him being in the Premier League, yeah, we don't want quality darts with players taking out crazy finishes to save their £1 million dream. Yeah, we don't want guys like that. We don't want guys who can, pull these big finishes out and average 103 on the biggest stage in the world. We're good. We don't want guys like that. What kind of argument is that? I don't agree. I don't think
I think I might have up my sleeve, Dan, somebody that might want to make an argument against that. And I'm going to have to, folks, I'm going to have to unbrand us ever so slightly because we didn't expect to have a fourth addition to the show this evening. So I'm going to remove the branding. And with a couple of clicks, I'm going to bring Online Darts' very own Chris Rea, as Phil Bars is, as he does on this show every year, driving home for Christmas. Philip, how are you, mate?
Here he is.
Oi, peoples.
The hardest working man in darts, the famous Mr. Phil Bars.
How are we?
How are we, sir?
Good. How are you, Phil?
I can't wait to get fucking home.
We thought you might have had a long one. Was it day 13 and you were there the day before? You've broken 2 weeks down there, I think, haven't you?
My head is fried. It got to the point this afternoon, I was looking at the screen and nothing was going in.
Well, speaking of things going in, Phil, there was an awful lot of darts.
It's been mental.
There was an awful lot of darts going into the treble 20. We were just discussing that game between Danny Noppert and Justin Hood. Now, you got a chance to speak to Justin Hood after the match as well. Like, give us your view. What do you make of it? It was bloody good, but what do you think?
An incredible game of darts. Justin Hood is completely off his rocker, and I never thought I'd say this. I've changed my mind. I want Danny Noppert in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Wow.
Phil, yes.
I think he came out of that game with more credit in the bank for a place in the Premier League than he had before it.
Yeah, and I never thought I'd say this either, but I think he's in over Gezi, or should be in over Gezi right now.
I mean,
I still think Bunting's the one for me, but obviously I know the top four rule, but depending on whether he stays there. But
you and I have a very similar view on that.
Agree.
Danny put up more of a fight against a better opponent.
I think if Bunting remains in the top four, he's in. If he drops out, I think he's gone.
Yeah.
He should be. I agree.
He came in out every week for 16 weeks. I know he put in some decent averages, but you got to win games, and he didn't.
Quite right.
Yeah, 100%.
What a game, though. Absolutely super. And I genuinely don't think there are enough good things to say. Like I said, Justin Hood dragged me like with his crack and banter and entertainment from the press room at mine end because I wanted to be in the room. Like I wanted to be, and like just, you know, like Cam, you've been there, you know, the venue, like he came on in reds with the hat on doing the dance. I was like, You've got to be in that room, get me in there. And he continues to absolutely blow away everybody that he comes up against now. And again, we're not doing predictions for this right now, so I'm only going to touch on it just very quickly. But Justin Hood's next game for a place in the fourth round of the World Championships in the last 16 is against Ryan Mikl. That is a very, very winnable game if he can reproduce even 85% of this level.
Well, that's it. He's not going to have to play at 103 to beat Ryan Mikl, let's be honest. He's probably going to have to play at mid-90s and double similar to how he did today, and I think that'll be enough. It's just, obviously, Danny Noppert plays at a very good pace, and if they both got into a rhythm in this game, whether he can handle the fact that Mikl is up there with Mentor for the slowest players on God's green earth at the moment, like, is another thing. And if he can do that, then it's one I see him winning.
To give you the weight of what he's doing and the run that he's on, if he can get past the next round, meaning somehow upset, I don't think anything's crazy at this point. If he upsets Rock or Rids, he would go ahead of Nico Springer in the order of merit. That's how much weight Worlds has just on your ranking, and it's unbelievable. I didn't see it coming, and props to him, because every time I thought he would blink, he would bang in a 180 or take out an incredible finish. I mean, it was unbelievable to watch.
Yeah, he starts to become a worry for the old Rob Owen tour card watch at the moment, doesn't it?
My only worry for Justin Hood is, and this is something to, in 2 years' time, and this is not just Hood, this is anyone, whenever you win a massive chunk of money at once, like at the Worlds, it's 2 years' time, because it's not a gradual defence where you're doing 10 grand here, 15 grand here. Bang, you've got to defend maybe 100 grand for a quarter final all at once. So I know that's not for right now, and he won't care. But in 2 years' time, that pressure to defend that chunk of money will be huge.
Yeah, I think that's where we really start to see the elite players. That's where we see the, if you like, the professional top end of their. And this is why we talked earlier on about, how hard it is to solidly break in to that, that top 32, that and then establish yourself within that, and not just, zigzag in and out of it because you've had one good run, but sustaining it. And what we're starting to see Jermaine do a little bit more is get himself to a point and then hold it and sustain it, and then build on that as a platform where he can.
And I wonder, the last thing I'll say, and this is a little more over-encompassing, but I wonder, with the prize money at Worlds being so overweighted compared to all the other events, are we going to get players, maybe like Justin Hood? I don't want to put him in this spot because we don't know that he could have a crazy ceiling and break into the top 32 and be there for a decade. Are we going to start seeing players qualifying for things they maybe shouldn't be at because they have all of this money from this one crazy 2 to 3 week run that they went on? And all of a sudden they're in these events, they maybe are getting, the crap beaten out of them, and then the money falls off, and it was just this weird little flash in the pan. That's the only concern, I think, with the prize money being so grandiose at Worlds. But for now, he's not thinking about that. He's thinking about how he can beat Ryan Mikl, and what a performance.
I mean, we've seen today, like Scott Williams' semi-final money dropped off today. And,
where'd he go?
He found himself, I think, down to about 44th in the world.
It's only going to get worse.
Yeah, and that's, obviously big drop. Right, moving on, because we've got a lot to still talk about. This was an enjoyable watch. I sort of wanted it to be, I wanted this to go a bit closer. I'm a big fan of Connor Scott, but I'm a big fan of Gary Anderson as well. I was a bit gutted with the draw. I suppose it's only right to come to you first, Philip. It was bloody impressive.
Gary Anderson.
Yeah, and he's on his way home for Christmas, isn't he? But 105.5, Phil, that's not, 105.5, that's not just edging out a very game and good performance from Connor Scott. But this was Gary Anderson, that was the second highest average in the tournament that we saw from Gary. He's there, isn't he? The game is where it needs to be.
Vintage Gary Anderson. And also, this stat is ridiculous, that was his second highest ever average at the World Championship.
Wow.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
He had a 108 in about 2012.
The thing is, it has to be as well, though.
Yeah, mad. Brilliant. When Scott takes the first set, we're all thinking he's under here because he was on it.
Yeah.
But it's interesting.
Yeah, there were just
that
a couple of missed doubles, but Scott didn't do a lot wrong.
No, 100% he didn't. Not at all. But it's interesting that Gary talks about the equipment, the molded flight and stem, which personally I'm not a fan, but he's migrated over to it, and he's like, I'm not going back.
Yeah.
This is Gary, who never tinkers, never does anything, and all of a sudden he's done probably the most dramatic change in his equipment ever, and he bangs in that.
Dave, we've seen former world champions, greats of the game, not be able to compete with the upcoming newer players, qualifiers even. We've seen them.
I was going to say, you're not just talking about upcoming players, you're talking about 168 in the world on Murk.
Yeah, this is where we've seen that, and then we've seen another former world champion tip up and do this. Is it still possible?
Oh, why yes?
Could, because I look at that quarter and I think, even just within that quarter, and I think to myself, like Gary Anderson against Michael van Gerwen, Gary can beat him. Like, they've both got a stinker in them. They've both got 105 average in them. I think Gary's more likely to find it. Josh Rock's the biggest threat, but Gary beating Josh Rock isn't massive worldwide news. That happens, that's what happens in darts. He could go on this could be one last hurrah. It could be. I've been asking for the retirement year. That's all I want. I want one last retirement year. Gary Anderson in the Premier League. Is this the long road to the?
You can't throw another name into the Premier League, Mitch. We can't fit them all in as it is.
Is this the start of the long road to the retirement Premier League tour?
Does he even bother with that? If he wins the Worlds, I think he's off.
No, he's not going to do it. He's turned it down many times. So my thing is, I want to say,
he's got £1 million in the bank. He don't need it, does he?
I want to preface it with, I didn't see this coming whatsoever. Just because the gap between his floor and TV game, I don't know why. He's Gary Anderson. I don't think he gets more nerves than the next guy. Probably less than most when he gets on the big stage, but. The gap was just widening, and he was so poor on TV this year. He had so many puzzling early exits where I said, I give up. I think Connor Scott, I believe Cam last night, I picked him, Connor Scott, to get the upset.
You did?
Yeah. And I thought after that first set that we were just seeing typical Gary rocks up, has a 90 average, and someone has a really good match and takes him out. And it didn't end up happening. He had put up an unbelievable vintage Gary performance. And who am I to say that he can't? I mean, I honestly believe he can say what he wants to the media and the press. I believe he didn't believe that he was capable of making a deep runner winning Worlds before tonight. And I think now he might be a little more fired up and believe that he can do something here. Because like you said, this is a winnable quadrant. He's not going to be scared of anyone. And once you get to that semi, I mean, anything's possible. He's Gary Anderson. You can't, the way he looked today, I'd be silly to say that he couldn't. And yeah, I think the run-in that he has is favorable, and what a performance. This is probably the most, relative to my expectation, the most surprising performance of the day outside of Justin Hood.
My apologies, because I forgot to put the clip. I didn't clip this bit up anyway. But it was interesting listening to Gary talk. He came up to London 3 days ago, and he's been playing 1-2-1 with Ty for the last 2 days in the hotel. Ty will be 16 and I'll be 60. He's got 1 year to get on the tour and play with me so I can smash him up.
Very impressive. I am just pleased if Gary Anderson has an incentive to stick around in darts, then I'm pleased about that. That's a good thing.
I'm more impressed by his scoring power today than if he's been playing 1-2-1.
Yeah, good point.
Because he's banging in 180s for fun, and you don't do any of that when you're playing 1-2-1.
No. I don't do it when I'm playing 5-0-1, to be completely honest. But it's,
no, that's
we all
very rarely do.
We all do our best.
And aiming at 19s, you don't hit many, I'll be honest.
And if a competition, I'm not sure who Phil Bars has paid off in the last few weeks, but when I start to see who's, people going out of tournaments, then I see Gary Anderson playing like that, and then I see Mikl van Gerwen turning up at the stage, averaging and I just think to myself,
playing back on the same night last night before Christmas as well.
Honestly, I don't know what he's done. I don't know whether he's been in St. Paul's Cathedral.
He's made a deal with someone.
He's worn his knees out praying, but I don't know how he's contrived to make this. But it's almost like the perfect day for Phil Bars. But are you convinced though, Cam? It was 100 average, which was all right. The doubles were solid. Willie O'Connor went missing for a large part of the game. Is there enough yet, or have you seen enough yet for you to take Mikl van Gerwen seriously as a threat in this tournament?
No, not yet. Not yet. He played well today. The first set was the only bit where I look at it and go, yeah, maybe a little bit. Maybe I think that potentially that he fought back from being under it. But again, I think Willie sort of just gave it him a little bit at the end of that first set. And then, like I say, second set, yes, the figures looked good from Van Gerwen, but there was nothing coming back at him. He could just relax and just play the board at that point. He didn't have to worry because Willie had lost all of his rhythm and all of his sort of composure at that point.
That second set, though, David, we had, and it was like there was nothing coming back at him, but that was such an impression. That was vintage Michael Van Gerwen. That was averaging 107, and it was 50% on the doubles. And if I miss one, I'll hit it. And I'm going to score well enough to make sure that I'll get another go. Because and I still think that if William O'Connor was not averaging 75, but was averaging 95, that set happens. It's still 3-0, and it's still a piss easy victory. But he's going to have to find that. If he's going to go deep, he's going to have to find that 4-3, 4-5, 6. He's going to have to find it set after set after set after set. And we can't be in a position where we're talking about Michael Van Gerwen having a good set. He's got to link that up, hasn't he?
As much as I wanted this to be about Michael Van Gerwen, this felt, at least very much so with the first set, it felt like Willie being incredibly uncomfortable the second he got on that stage. He never looked comfortable. He won those first 2 legs and completely melted down at the end of that first set, which kind of set the tone for a lot of the match. And look, if MVG is going to hit 63% of his doubles for the rest of the tournament, yeah, sure, he's a contender. The scoring phase has gone. He did throw 6-1 on 180s, but the scoring there was too many loose darts at times, and he bailed himself out with a lot of 2 ton plus finishes. I kind of like Cam. I want to be convinced. I want to say that MVG is I don't want to say back, but is a legitimate threat here. But if he has, if it takes him going 63% on his doubles to get a ton plus average, I don't want to see what he's going to do when he's starting to faff around on doubles, which is something we've seen all year. So I'm not fully convinced. Maybe he gets out of this quarter, but he'll be an underdog against Josh Rock if they meet in the quarterfinal. It was nice to see. Sad for Willie because it's probably one of the bigger matches he's ever played in, and he didn't really turn up. He had the weird eyes thing going on. Felt like it just went off the wrong foot from the get-go, but props to MVG. I didn't see a ton plus coming out of him. I'll be honest there. So I had the upset here as well. I'm continuing to out myself from last night.
Phil, as the Michael Van Gerwen expert, give us a bit of an overview, mate. Where is he at? What's going on? What's going to happen next?
Well, a couple of interesting bits, and listening to you all, I like the chat. First of all, it was interesting that Vincent wasn't meant to be coming to London at all this World Championship. Guess who flew in this morning?
Oh, wow.
It's like the bat phone going off when Commissioner Gordon rings it, I think. It's in Vincent's living room. And he did. So one Vincent flew in, which I thought the focus was good, but look, I'm geeky. I liked the MVG throw tonight. It looked rhythmical. The rhythm was back to it. Now, if that stays, I think he's a danger. It's all on the MVG throw for me. Tonight was the best I've seen it in a long time, which was encouraging. He also has been putting in, between round 1 and round 2, he's hit the board. I think he knows. I think something's switched. And the other thing as well, we played with a new set of darts tonight. Same barrel, but played with the new Winmore switch point.
Yeah, the old switch points that are definitely not a knockoff of the Swiss points.
He had Winmore make him a set of his darts with them in, and he played with them, which again is also un-NVG-like. To change something like that.
Were they any longer, or are they the same length as what he was using?
I don't know. I would guess they're the same length, but it's only in his head, but he wouldn't normally change something mid-tournament. Do you know what I mean? And the fact he did is like, oh, okay, I like it. I liked what I saw tonight, and yes, I did make a deal with the devil because we have Gary and MVG on one night. Sometimes you got to dance with the devil to get what you want.
What did you have to give up, Philip? What have you lost?
No, look, for me, this was the perfect night. Gary Anderson averages 105 and looks $1 million. MVG averages a ton and looks back. El Clasico is on. We're going to get it, I'm convinced. Everyone's a winner. What more do you want? Apart from when they play each other, I've got to pick one. But that's for another day.
I want less talk of people, dart players, innovating more stuff to do with their darts, adding stuff on that'll be fucking expensive because it's quicker. and I've already had to practically remortgage my bastard house so that somebody in this house can end up with a set of darts from a galaxy far, far away because someone's fucking brought them out, haven't they? If people could stop inventing shit my kids want, that'd be great.
I was going to say, to be honest, as you were going through all of that, I already knew that it was the kids you were on about, but I thought it could just have been you as well, to be honest.
I'm sick of dart players innovating things that end up on a fucking Christmas list. And there's only one fat bloke that brings presents in this house. His name's not fucking Santa.
He's not. If the beer's not quite gone grey yet, not completely at least.
Oh, mate, I tell you what, you can see it's on the way. I've left it off. I left it out today. Right.
You wait till the Harry Potter range comes out, then it's going to be Expelliarmus.
Oh, don't you dare.
Honestly,
Hey,
I
Phil,
don't
if
know
that
that will get Mrs. M into darts fully then. Like, she enjoys watching it, but she'll want to play then if they come out.
Oh,
honestly.
Could you imagine the Slytherin set, the Gryffindor set?
Oh, jeez! Don't give me any ideas.
I mean, there's enough dark arts that goes on in this tournament as it is. We don't need any more.
Surely.
Could you imagine Mensur Sudovic rocking up with a Slytherin set of unicorn darts?
Yeah, the Dark Arts edition.
averaging 76 and winning.
Just all.
Brilliant. Absolutely love it. Right, one more game to talk about, and then we can have a little chat about what might happen.
Actually, before that, Phil, just fill us in on exactly what Michael Van Gerwen said after.
Yeah,
fill us in on what he said.
My apologies, because I forgot to put the clips in because I was running out the press room as soon as I pressed upload to the MVG interview.
Called it.
Sorry, Josh Rock. But I asked him, I said, what was your thoughts on Peter Wright's? Were you surprised with the performance? I put it that way. He laughed. He was like, hey, do you want me to answer that? I was like, yeah, what do you think of the performance? He was like, I wasn't surprised. He's been playing crap for ages. I think it's time he should retire. As blatant as you like.
We need that on TikTok as a short, as quick as you like.
It's already up. Don't worry, I've done that bit.
Oh, well done, mate. I was going to say, because if not, you need to pull it.
All right, yeah. Sort TikTok out. Just leave us lot in the lurch.
Pull into your nearest services and get that uploaded. Right, last one, Josh, and I don't want to disrespect Joe Comitor, but this was just a game that went almost exactly the way A, it should have done, B, I thought it was going to. And it was just, I suppose, the best we can say about this, Dave, is it was a banana skin avoided for Josh Rock, even being drawn into something. Because I think the fact that he's not even being drawn into a competitive game here against an opponent averaging 90 with 50% on his doubles. You know, Joe Comitor played fine. He played an awful lot better than an awful lot of players have played and won three games in this tournament. But it just wasn't. I suppose Josh Rock just didn't give him enough chances. He was just there to get through, wasn't he? And he did exactly what he should have done.
Yeah, I was emphatic last night that I wanted to give Joe a set because my pushback with Josh Rock, and I think everyone's, is that he has the ceiling to compete with both Lukes. And if you want to lump maybe Gezi in there, you can. But he's top 4 comfortably, in my opinion, in the world when it comes to when he is on for a handful of legs, a set, he can pump out a 115 average. I mean, it's absurd at times because his scoring is just so brilliant, and he can get locked in on some of his favorite doubles. The issue is what we saw, just an inkling of, and I don't know if it's going to be foreshadowing for later in the tournament, but against Gemma, where he'll just put in an 85 for a set and just kind of switch off. And if this is something that you want to win your quadrant, you want to win the tournament, It just can't happen. It can't happen for very long, at least. Set play probably favors him a little bit more because of that reason. But I was thinking maybe he would turn off and Joe would be able to pick one off if he had the darts. Didn't end up happening. Came maybe close here and there, but never really scared it. It was a professional performance from Josh. I don't think my thoughts on him change here or there, just based on what we saw. But that's the one thing I would hope he'd clean up, and it seemed like he did here. He didn't really switch off at too much at any point. I think that's the next step of this game is just bringing that floor up and trying to understand how he can just avoid those little moments where maybe he loses focus or switches off or the throw feels weird. I know he moved. I mentioned last night he moves a bit with his throw once in a while, but Joe should walk away happy. He won a match. He averaged 90. He would have won inspiring in this one, but Josh was Josh.
Yeah, Cam, I thought, and I think, we spent a lot of time dissecting the draw and looking at brackets and predicting things pre-tournament, and I thought the biggest threat to Josh Rock in this quarter was Danny Knopper. Now that you remove him, and then you also look at, realistically, the other two big names in that section of the draw are inevitably going to meet each other. And I think the fact that we may get El Clasico before either one of them meets Josh Rock, which means they've got to go through a big game with lots of media commitments and a lot of eyes on it, and potentially a tough game to come through as well. Is Josh Rock do you think one of the biggest beneficiaries of the people that have been sent on, the Gezi Prices, the Danny Noppets? Because yes, it's less of a banana skin for the two Lukes, but really, is it the likes of Josh Rock and perhaps Jan van Veen that are looking at that and thinking, yeah, this is starting to look a bit like I can maybe not go and win it, but my name's going to be ahead of them. Yeah, I'm putting my name in front of this lot as well.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it is. Like I say, it does feel a bit like it's opening up for the Lukes, but it's opening up for the other players as well that have got a game in them to go and beat those sort of players as well. And I was really impressed with Josh, the way that he played today, that it was as solid as it was. He didn't dip, he didn't fall off. It was consistently good. And despite picking 3-0 last night, I allowed myself to be talked into Dave's way of thinking that he would dip off for a set. And a little flutter with the sponsors, Paddy Power, that I just thought 5-2 for over 3.5 sets was a really good punt because David convinced me of it. So I'll send him in. I'll be sending him.
That was your first mistake.
That's it. But yeah, it was impressive from me today. He just didn't give him an opportunity, and like I say, it was just the draw is open for him, and there is a huge opportunity for him to go and win a world championship. I'm putting him in that bracket. Like we're not talking about him making a semi-final here. We're talking about him going and winning the lot.
But Phil, again, so two parts of that. First of all, where do you see him in the big picture of the tournament, Josh Rock? But then, second of all, in the absence of in that bracket, that section of the bracket, Danny Noppert, the big threat in there, has gone. Gezi's gone from the tournament. We've lost Dobie. Those players that arguably sit above both in the rankings and sometimes the pecking order for things like, World Series invites, Premier League spots and things. How much of a big opportunity is this for Josh Rock now?
That's a massive opportunity for him. We can't underplay that by any stretch of the imagination, that there are contenders for the Premier League. Is he going to win the World Championship? Probably not. So, look, can he have the best run possible? And it's what comes after that in his development. He is in the driving seat for one of those 8 spots as long as he doesn't fuck it up, for want of a better word. It's in his hands to get it wrong. If he gets it right, I think a quarter-final of the World Championships with the World Cup, the other boxes he ticks that's enough for him for the Premier League. So now, like you say, with Noppert going, it's don't get complacent. Don't overlook anyone like he did Gemma Hayter, where he admitted that I got this wrong. I thought I was just going to rock up and win. Just don't make a silly mistake. Do I think this might be my heart overall in my head here. I think he loses to the winner of El Clasico.
Well, interestingly, and let's be honest, he could well do that. However, if he does get through that next game with Callan Ridge, he moves on to £555,000 in ranking, which puts him above two players that I've spent all year banging the drum on, saying they'll go deep at the Worlds, therefore they'll get a Premier League spot, which is James Wade and Danny Noppert. And all year we've talked about James Wade and Danny Noppert are going to be around 4th, 5th in the world, and they're going to make people think about them. And because they've both been binned out early, one more win from Josh Rock, he jumps James Wade and Danny Noppert. And all of a sudden, those two, like for me, they're out of conversation because you just look to the player you want, and B, the player that's higher than them in the rankings. But I think it's a huge tournament, and I think it could be as real coming out party as, when I say among the elite, I'm talking, the top 8 in the world is where I think he's announcing himself now.
Yeah, I did have the figures in front of me, but that figure, if he wins his next one, he's above them, he's in. Stop the bookies pay out whatever odds you laid for him to be in the Premier League, he's in. Job done, yeah. Thank you very much. Regardless of the next game after that.
James Wade sat, and again, James Wade and Noppert can't pick anything else up. James Wade on 544, Danny Noppert on 550. If Josh Rock wins one more game, he's on 555, so jumps past both of them. As, again, and I'm just saying it because it's there in front of me, Jan van Veen can jump up to 5th, 4th in the world, depending on other results as well. So we'll get into that after Christmas, though, folks. It's going to be a pretty exciting twist and turn at the top of the rankings. Normally, we don't see that sort of chopping around, but it's so tight that we're going to see quite a lot of interesting bits and pieces going on. Right. So we've done today. We are now going to take you all the way forward, past Christmas dinner, past the Boxing Day hangover, and all the way to December the 27th, where we've got 3 games in the afternoon. We've got 3 games in the evening. We are playing first to 4, I believe, now, aren't we?
First to 4, correct, yeah.
So that is rare for me to nail that first time. We're playing first to 4, so best of 7 in the afternoon. We'll bounce around pretty quick, the 4 of us, now it is. In the chat room, don't forget to get your predictions in as well. If you find that you can't interact in the chat room, there's loads of banter in the chat room tonight. It's been difficult for me to get in the chat room too much because there's the 4 of us. It's difficult to... the chat room banter is unbelievably helpful when there's like either me on my own or 2 of us. But when there's 4 of us, it's hard to drag everyone else in along with it as well. But make sure you get your predictions in the chat room. We'll stick them all up on the screen. If you can't, for whatever, well, I'll tell you what, if you can't get your prediction in the chat room or comment, it's for one reason alone, which is because you're not subscribed. And there are rules to this game. You need to be subscribed to the channel and then invite 10 friends as well. So get subscribed. Make sure that you are commenting your predictions. But game number 1 on the afternoon session on the 27th of December at 12:30 is the Cam's Russian Dolls partner from when he had a pint in my head, Wesley.
My good mate.
Oh, good mate. I'll tell you what, and I've never seen 2. If you could find 2 human beings on Earth that were more opposite in every single physical way possible than Cam McFarlane and Wesley Brasier, you will be well pushed. But Wesley Brasier plays the Polish Eagle, Krzysztof Ratajski, in the first game. We'll go clockwise. It's good to have that many people on the show that we can decide if we go clockwise or anti-clockwise. I like that. Cameron.
I know, yeah. You don't get that very often.
No. What you reckon?
Oh, if you're expecting me to pick against my mate, you're expecting far too much from me. What I will say is that this tournament, there's 2 people that have pictured alongside me in recent times in the world of darts. One's Big Wes and one's Ricky Evans from the Live Lounge Live, and they're both doing well. So if you want to go far in any sort of tournament or in life, just get yourself next to Cam McFarlane and you'll be all right.
I'll tell you what,
Wes wins 4-2.
4-2. Dave?
Yeah.
Wesley, I really liked his game last year on the floor. I believe he made 3 finals and finally won on his 3rd attempt. So just kind of put a pin in him and was like, all right, this could be a guy to keep an eye on. And last year at Worlds was hoping he'd go a little bit deeper. This year he seems more comfortable on stage. Maybe the new walk-on is doing it for him. He's getting the crowd behind him. You would imagine he will have the crowd behind him in this one after his electric walk-on. I think it'll be close because Christoph is a very cool customer, and man, was he impressive against Ryan Joyce. I'm gonna go Wesley 4-3, but this could be a really close one, and I wouldn't be surprised if this goes to extra legs. But yeah, I'll back Wesley here, like what I've seen.
Philip?
I am going for Mr. Wenger Boys himself. I am going for the Polish Eagle. I like what I've seen from Ratajski. I'm going 4-2 to the pole.
I'll tell you what, folks, and we very rarely get this on the show because we don't often have 4 of us, but it's going to be a pleasure for me to tell you that it's a Desmond. We've got a Desmond, have we? We've got a Desmond. We've gone 2-2 because I am also going to go with the Polish Eagle, just because I think like Big Wes has got he's got a game, like he's definitely got something there, and he's a lovely player to watch. But I've seen too much of Ratajski lately that I've liked. I thought the deciding leg victory in the Players' Championship finals over Jan van Veen was really impressive. I thought he was unlucky to get beat by Josh Rock and played really well. I think he's tipped up this year at the World Championships and looks like he looks like the 2021 Christoph Ratajski. Like that's genuinely what he's looked like so far. When quarterfinals of the Worlds, semi-final and match play, and we thought he is a player like he's going to be on the telly all the time, and it's gone missing, and he's not been able to find it. But that's exactly what he looks like at the minute. So it's a 4-2 Polish Eagle for me. Let's have a quick look in the chat room, see what we've got in there. I think James got in first, with Placia winning 4-3. All boxed up has gone same result, but 4-2. Alan is the same. Ducky Baker again. Placia 4-2. Heavy in the chat room at the minute for Big Wes. I think it's all just better, perhaps based on who they've beaten in the previous round. Maybe is biasing it. Paddy has gone Big Wes winning 4-3. Nels has got, so he's come to extent. We've got some reason there now. He's gone with the Polish Eagle winning 4-3. I nearly didn't put that Davies, because I thought he'd sat on the fence when he said 4-3 either way, but then he's confirmed that he's gone with the Polish Eagle. Benyon has gone 4-1, the Polish Eagle. Kate has gone Wesley Placia winning 4-3. What else have we got in there? I think we got one at the end. We got Wesley Placia winning 4-2 from MJJ. Bit of a mix in the end there. I thought it was going to be a bit Wesley Placia slanted, but it's a bit balanced in the chat room, as it was on the show with a Desmond. So, game number 2 on the 27th of December is, tell you what, it's a rough afternoon session, this. If you've bought tickets in advance and this is what you've been handed, this is your only session of the year. Andrew Gilding against Luke Woodhouse. We'll go anti-clockwise this time. Philip Bars, you can go first.
You are gold. Always believe in yourself. 4-1.
Oh!
4-1. Oh, my goodness.
Dave?
Yeah, I have been guilty of being someone who, and I don't know if it's because he's not flashy, doesn't show a lot of emotion. Maybe it's just the showman in me being a little bit looking for that. But I'm done doubting Andrew Gilding. He has quietly averaged nearly 99 through the first 2 rounds of this tournament. I think he's been the biggest dark horse performer thus far. I think he rocks up and averages at least 95. It feels like it's pretty penciled in. And yeah, I'm gonna agree with Phil. I'll go 4-2, but yeah, I'm done doubting him. He's looked so good. He's so composed. He almost looks like he doesn't care when he's up there, which is easy to trick yourself into believing. But yeah, I'm gonna go 4-2 here. I love what I've seen out of Andrew in the first 2 rounds.
Cam?
I think I'm going the other way. I think Woody's one as well. I think they're quite similar in terms of, they couldn't be more different in terms of characters and sort of people, but in terms of the way they play the game, they're both pretty composed up there. They don't worry too much. And the more and more I watch Woody, the more I'm impressed with him recently. And I think he nicks it, and he nicks it. Close one. I think I can only see it going close, 4-3.
Oh, do you know, I often press Phil Bars to make me graphics and to make me little jingles, and he delivered on the Rob Owen Tour Cards watch alarm. I'm going to have to get him. We're going to need something with the Archbishop on soon, because it's another Desmond.
Yes.
It's another Desmond. No, do you know what? Really, like, dead quickly without dragging it on, like what he said, I think it goes. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if this game went like sudden death. I think it's really, really evenly balanced. I think they're both very, very steady. I don't think we'll see monster average. I almost think we'll see a 93 average from both of them, and it'll just sort of tick along. I think it'll be a nice watch. But yeah, 4-3 Woodhouse is mine. Let's have a look in the chat room. Chat room is absolutely banging tonight. It's busy. Everybody's
this is what happens when you put the celebrities on, though, isn't it? When you get the famous Phil Bars on, the people scope in the chat room.
You know, I tried to cue that, and because I had to flick into another studio, that's what changed the background, so I couldn't cue it up. But I did try and cue that video. But that switch was because I tried to cue it. Yeah, everyone's busy. I think Mrs. S. We might even have a Mrs. S watch tonight. She's wrapping presents in another room. And obviously, she won't be watching Netflix. She'll be watching those, won't she? Right, let's have a look. Who we got? Alan's in first. Gilding winning 4-2. Daniel Valentine Woodhouse winning 4-3. We're going to split the chat room here. I can see it. Ducky Baker Gilding 4-1. Benyon Gilding 4-2. Dan Lucas has gone Woodhouse winning 4-3. Bobsy's gone Goldfinger 4-2. Maybe a bit heavier Goldfinger actually in here. All boxed up, Gilding 4-2. Jeremy Goldfinger 4-2. MJJ Goldfinger 4-3. Kay's gone Gilding 4-3 as well. Bob Gilding 4-3. Very heavy Gilding actually. I didn't expect this. Paddy's gone 4-2 Gilding. James has gone Woodhouse 4-2. He's correct and wise. Wrestle Jammer is in. Wrestle Jamia. Gilding 4-2. Dart Davies has gone 4-3 Goldfinger. Nels has gone Woodhouse 4-3. Daniela has gone 4-3 Woodhouse. Incredibly wise prediction. Chatting is absolutely banging. We're loving this. We are loving this. Right, main event of the afternoon is the Ferret against Neil Zonneveld. And because it's Neil Zonneveld, Will Zigzag Zonneveld. That's where the nickname came from. That's from Triple Z. So instead of going clockwise or anti-clockwise, I'm going to zigzag across and diagonally back up and down. Dave, you can go first, mate.
Oh, man. This is a tough one. I think it comes down to, I think Johnny's going to be put under it, and it's going to come down to his classic ton-plus finishing. If he's going to get a lot of good looks, and if a lot of his matches seem like they come down to whether he can pull one out of a hat, which he almost seems to always do. I don't think Neil's. I want to back him because I have my doubts on Johnny at times. I think his scoring can leave him, and I think he has a lot of trouble aligning with the 20s. A lot of times he'll throw in a 26 or things can get a little hairy for him, and the throw looks a little bit off with the timing. I just don't think Niels is quite ready for this spot yet, but I'm impressed with how he's looked so far. But I'll go Clayton 4-2 here.
Interesting. Cam?
What I didn't expect, because I hadn't checked the head-to-head before, is that Johnny Clayton's lost his last 4 games in a row to Niels Sonneveld.
Wow.
Jesus, that's a fact, isn't it?
I know
That's a
they
fun
played each
goal.
other 5 times. Johnny's not beaten him since the first time they played back in 2019, which
never
I
have
was
picked
not
that.
expecting to see when I looked at the stats.
Well done.
It's not going to change my pick. I've got Johnny going very, very deep in this tournament, and I'm going to stand by it. I think he is just a better player than Niels Sonneveld is, regardless of the head-to-head record. So I think he wins. I think he wins relatively comfortably 4-2.
PB,
Johnny Clayton wins 4-1 in the final set, takes out 1-2-1 on the ball, points left and goes, go on!
it's hard to disagree if I'm
I know.
honest. I mean, you put it so passionately, I feel almost compelled to agree completely. I'll maybe not go into the detail, but I've got Johnny 4-1. I think Niels Sonneveld, I genuinely think he's one of the players that I've seen this year that I am properly excited about seeing next year. Like I think Niels Sonneveld has shown huge improvements in his game. I really think we are going to see, like we've seen him on tour for years. This year, we've seen him consistently. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 Pro Tour events this year, quarterfinals or better. We've made multiple semi-finals, Pro Tour finalists. Like he's really, really developing, and I'm really excited about seeing what the next year has in store for him. But Johnny Clayton is a much better dart player at the moment. Will turn up fresh, ready, and I genuinely think with a bit between his teeth. I think he's watched Gezi Price go home, Michael Smith go home, Peter Wright go home. I think he's watched these world champions fall. James Wade get sent back. And I think Johnny looks at that and thinks, this could be me. This could be me in the Premier League again. This could be me winning. This is my chance. So, yeah, Johnny Clayton, 4-1. In the chat room, who got him first? I think it was Daniel Valentine with Clayton winning 4-2. James has got Clayton winning 4-1. This is going to be very heavy, isn't it? Alan has got Clayton 4-2. Ducky Baker Sonneveld 4-2. He's picked the upset. Dan Lucas has gone Clayton 4-1. Bennion has gone Clayton 4-2. Bob Clayton 4-1. Daniela Clayton 4-1 as well. Wrestle Jamia Clayton 4-2. Bobsy Clayton 4-1. Paddy's gone Niels Sonneveld winning 4-3. Quite that'll be some game if that is the outcome. Nels has gone Johnny winning 4-1. Dart Davies, Clayton winning 4-1. All boxed up. Sonneveld 4-3. Have we got any more? Kay has gone Clayton winning 4-2. And Philip Bryant has gone Clayton winning 4-3. It's very, very heavy. It's not quite a clean sweep Johnny Clayton pick. There isn't just a rogue odd contrarian in there. I do think those that have picked Sonneveld probably think he's in with a chance, but it's very heavy in the chat room in favour of Johnny Clayton. Moving into the evening session, 3 more games to come on the 27th. The first one, I am really looking forward to this game. I genuinely believe it's going to be a really, really good watch. Match number 100, the 100th game of this year's tournament, will be Andreas Harrison against Pikachu Ricardo Pietrasco. Cam, I'll come to you first, mate.
Thanks for that.
I'm sure you'll have done all your
This one
you'll
is
have your graphs
not
and
an
your
easy
bar
pick.
charts in front of you, won't you?
Oh yeah, I've always prepared me.
You won't just be doing this on a wing and a prayer, surely.
Absolutely not, just picking a score at random. Yeah, I'm a bit drawn on this. Like, I tend to lean towards Pietrasco in a lot of close games on this stage. I think he does all right, and he's playing well, and his hair looks a lot better than it used to now, and I think that it helps him with his darts. But Harrison's impressed me in the first 2 rounds, and we knew he was good anyway. We've seen what he's done at the Super Series and everywhere else. Like, we know he's good. Can he do it again though? I think not, but I think this one goes deep. I think it goes 4-3. I think there's the extra legs, but Pietrasco is the one that gets over the line.
Dave?
Yeah, I'm gonna go I'm going to go Ricardo 4-2. I like what I've seen from him recently. I think he's done better in 2025, just keeping his head on straight, using some of that. He's a bit of a chaotic, energetic guy when he's on stage, and I feel like I've seen him just using it a little bit more in positivity and using it for himself rather than taking it out externally and maybe using it in negative moments. So I think that works well. Harrison's looked really good through the first 2 rounds, and has maybe posed a little bit more of a threat than I expected, especially with beating Ross Smith. But yeah, I liked what I saw of Ricardo when Chizzy kind of dragged him back into a scrap. He was able to really clutch up, and I think this will be a similar style match, and I think he'll be battle tested for it. So yeah, I'll take Ricardo 4-2.
Phil, what are you thinking?
I can't go against Dirty Harrison. Everything he's telling me to pick Pietreczko, but I'm not doing it. I am going Dirty Harrison to continue being dirty at the Palace and win 4-2.
Oh, this does give me opportunity to share that image with you all.
Excellent work in the background, sir.
Because he's back. He's back. Yeah. Again, I think it's. I think it goes all the way as well. I genuinely am quite looking forward to this game, and I think they've both got a real sort of grit and determination about them. They can both score really well. They both check out some monster finishes. Like this could have the potential, and I think it's good for both of them to have the eyes on them in this way. And one of them is going to be a last 16 player. That's what when we saw this draw, when we saw this game get set up the other day, we talked on the show about the fact that one of them was guaranteed in the last 16, which is huge for either player for very different reasons. But for me, it goes all the way to sudden death. In the chat room, God, I've got to roll up here because we've got so many. Who got in first? I think it was Bob. Just Bob came in with Pietreczko 4-1. Dan Lucas has gone Pikachu 4-3. Bennion has gone Harrison winning 4-2. Russell Jamia, Pietreczko winning 4-1. Ducky Baker, Pikachu winning 4-0. I can't see that. That's not what I'm going to be able to agree with. I am afraid. Dan Valentine has gone Pietreczko winning 4-2. Bobby's gone Dirty Harry winning 4-3. All boxed up. Harrison winning 4-2. Pietreczko winning 4-3 is K's prediction. MJJ's got Pikachu winning 4-3. Daniela has got Pikachu winning 4-2. Alan has got Dirty Harry winning 4-2. James has got Harrison winning 4-3. We've really split the chat room on this one. Paddy's got Dirty Harry winning 4-3. Davies has got Pikachu winning 4-2. I'm going to unmute Phil's mic now. He's finished having a piss.
I was going to say that's what it sounded like. I was trying to do the same in the background and I realised you'd done it.
Yeah, I've muted him. He's back on now. Philip Bryant has got Pietreczko winning 4-2. God, we've got so many picks in today. It's happened. I think this is the most picks we've ever had on a Fallout show. This is amazing. Nels has got Pikachu winning 4-2. Absolutely superb. I think it's going to be a brilliant start to the evening. Right, I'm going anti-clockwise again because I really, really want to hear what you think is going to happen in this game, Phil Bars. When Stephen Bunting takes on a man who's taken up the mantle recently, a spoiler in TV tournaments, upsetting people. James
When you say spoiler, you mean as in like he spoils the viewing because fuck me, he slows it down a lot.
Stephen Bunting and James Hurrell, Phil, what are we thinking?
I think the break has come at just the right time for Bunting. I think he's had a chance to get away, sort his head out, and I think he comes back a different player. We saw the breakdown in the press conference that things had got to him. But I think, and I'm not convinced James Hurrell plays as well again. So I'm going Bunting to win 4-2.
Dave.
I am going to go James 4-2. I did not like at all what I saw from Steven in the group stage of the Slam, where Alexis Toilo was really playing like Alexis Toilo, very slow, very methodical. Steven looked antsy behind him. It clearly impeded his game. He was sub-90 average. I think a similar thing could happen because, like Cam said, James is certainly not the fastest player in the world. And although he's 41, he's relatively new to being in these kind of. This is his second appearance at Ali Pali, I believe, and he's relatively new to this big stage, and he looked as comfortable as I've ever seen him playing against Dirk, who likes to give it the big one and is a power scorer and put a lot of pressure on him. And I was so surprised at how composed James Hurrell was. So I'm going to back him 4-2. I haven't seen enough from Bunting to feel convinced that he's going to be able to show up. And honestly, the People's Champ thing and the things behind the scenes, I think that does impact him. He doesn't seem like a guy who is fully composed, and we saw that maybe in the Premier League as well. And I guess I'm long form saying I don't trust Steven yet. And that's kind of why I'm going with James here. I realize it may not happen, but I can't back Steven against someone who's got a tour card and looked pretty good in the second round.
Cam.
Oh God, it's a tough one. This, I'm not really sure I want either to win. The way that it is at the moment. I'm slightly swayed by the fact that I want Johnny Clayton to nick fourth spot in the world. So I don't really want Bunting to win. And I don't really want to watch much more of Hurrell. I'll be honest, it's not an enjoyable watch. It's not like, yes, he's played all right, but it's painful to watch at times. So for that reason, Bunting wins 4-3. It gets dragged out ages and it's a long old game.
Oh, God. Well, I'm going to disagree. I can't bring the Archbishop back on screen, I'm afraid, because I disagree with the fact that it goes ages. I think, like what Phil said, I think the breaks come at the right time. And I think Stephen Bunting comes back a bit refreshed, a bit having reflected on some of the, things outside of throwing darts at the board that have been talked about and discussed. And I just think he comes up and passes him up. I think he's 4-0. I think it's a very, very comfortable 4-0 victory for Stephen Bunting. The chat room, let's have a little look. Who was in first? I think this time it might have been. I think it's Dan Valentine again. He's a good point for you to get to in the chat room. Nice and early. Dan Valentine's gone Bunting 4-1. This is going to be heavy, I think. Bob has gone Bunting 4-2. Dazza said, when's Littler play next? We'll discuss that in about 45 seconds. Dan Lucas has said Bunting 4-1. Bunting 4-1. He's not driving through a lake. He stopped for a piss. Nels has gone Bunting 4-2. Wrestle Jamie has gone Bunting 4-2. Alan's gone Bunting 4-2. Marian's gone Bunting 4-1. Ducky Baker's gone Bunting 4-3. He's with you, Cam. He thinks it's going to be dragged out. But Bogsy is a clever lad, and he's gone with me on Bunting 4-0. All boxed up has gone Hurrell winning 4-3. Oh, I tell you what, we're getting some late money. There's a late rush in the end. There's some late money coming from Hurrell. Paddy McElveny has gone James Hurrell winning 4-2. Brian's restored order in the chat room with a Bunting 4-1 prediction. MJJ 4-1 and Dart Davies Bunting 4-0. Ton plus average back with a bang. Right, our final prediction before Christmas is, do we still class this as the main event? It's on last. The last game hasn't been the main event recently. Is Bunting the main event? this night?
Nah,
but we're down to 3
Three
games.
games, it's
We're
always
down to
hard.
3 games. The main event.
I am, of course, jesting because there is only one main event in darts, and that is Luke Littler.
Mencia
Suljovic. Luke Littler against Mencia Suljovic. We're going to
With
zigzag.
his new Harry Potter darts.
Yeah, we're going to zigzag across the stage again. So, Dave, I'll come to you first. Or is it easy if we all do this at the same time? Is anyone going to actually give him a leg or a set? Or what are you going to give him? Dave, I'll come to you first. What are you giving him?
I'm debating whether to give him a set. I'm not. I feel like I'm a little upset friendly when I come on here because it's fun because you're not held accountable. So I'll go 4-0. I do wonder if Mensah is, and I know Luke probably will brush it up because he's going to likely dominate him, but I just do wonder if we could get a little bit of a dust up or a little bit of Luke, wanting to prove a point, and if Mensah is playing super slow, if Luke wants to maybe make a statement out of him, I think that would be the one talking point that we could get out of this. But I don't know how you saw what Mensah did just from a performance standpoint against Joe in the previous round. If you think he has a fighting chance here, this would be a shock of all shocks. So I'll go 4-0.
Do we have a consensus, Phil, Cam? We all agreed?
I think he gets a set.
Oh,
I think better than even money for him to win a set is a silly price, to be fair, and I think it's one I'll be attempting to take advantage of with the sponsors up there. I think he will win a set. I think he's playing all right. I think he's playing better than we've seen him play for a while. He wasn't great against Cullen, but he played well in the first round. So I think he'll do enough to get a set, but 4-1 Littler.
Phil.
Littler hits him with Septon Sampra, averages 104.67, batters him 4-0, sends him back to Austria, says thanks very much. See you later.
See you for the next Triwizard tournament.
International wizard relationships isn't going well at this point. Back to Durmstrang you go.
Yeah, that's it.
What he said, maybe not. I'm maybe not backing him on the specifics of that average, but once again, I'll back him on the score, and it's a very, very comfortable, piss easy Littler 4-0 win. And I think that we will see Mensah slow it down, and we'll probably see some quite memeable eyebrow raised, funny face pulls from Littler, but it will not affect his ability to properly throw that dart into the board, and he'll piss through it. In the chat room for the last time before Christmas, Dan Lucas wins. Dan Lucas is not winning nothing. Dan Lucas thinks Littler's going to win 4-0. All boxed up has got Littler 4-0 as well. Benny on has got Littler 4-1. James has got 4-0. Dan Valentine is 4-0 as well. We're going through them quick because they're all the bloody same. Ducky Baker has got Littler winning 4-0. Russell Jamie has got Littler winning 4-0. Bob seems to have had some sort of episode, he thinks, because he's got Littler 4-3. That's very strange. I hope you're okay.
It's ever so strange.
It's ever so strange. Seek help quickly. Nels has gone 4-0 to Littler. Connor has gone Littler winning 4-0 as well. Phil Bryant has gone Littler 4-1. Alan's gone Littler 4-1. Nels thinks Mensah will be slower.
He goes to be slower.
His only chance. His only chance is if the match never ends. That's his only chance of not losing.
He'd have to be in reverse. He'd have to be taking the darts out of the ball. He'd be making them go backwards to go slower. Dart Davies has gone Littler winning 4-0. Colin in the crowd whistling on Slytherin's throw. Brilliant. Absolutely.
Oh, I love it. This is going to be a thing from now on.
Yeah, Phil, we need more graphics. We need Mencia Suljovic with
Severus Snape.
Severus Snape's haircut. That's what we need. You get yourself into Photoshop, mate. Kate has gone Littler 4-0. Paddy has gone Littler 4-0.
I think Mad Eye Moody might be a better reference for Snape, to be honest.
It's a bit niche.
Not for Mensah, to be honest.
Bit niche.
You're a wizard, Mensah.
Littler. Connor has gone finally. Littler 4-0. We have, as always, folks, this is an annual thing. So what happens every year on this show is I've been on the Stella for 4 hours before the show started. Phil drives home for Christmas, and it all descends into complete and utter chaos because it is now Christmas, folks. This is your final. I don't even know what the show is. Like the Fallout Bar, that's what we're on. This is your final Fallout Bar this side of Christmas. We will be back on the 27th. The Fallout Bar and Online Darts has got some very exciting things for the second half of this World Championships. We've got a very exciting little announcement to make about the final, where we will be live watch-alonging the final from a very famous podcast venue in London within the largest pub in Britain. We're going to be, Cam and I will be there, plus a few others as well, in the Brewdog in Waterloo, which is an incredible venue bang in the centre of London. They've got an unbelievable podcast studio, and we are going to be doing a live watch-along of the final from that studio. So we will be back on the 27th of December. The Fallout Bar is going to be there every day, and then on the final we've got a big special show in store. Phil Bars will be back at Alexandra Palace straight after Christmas. He'll still be full of turkey and back on the road, and he's going to be there interviewing every winner. So all of the interviews as ever from today and going forward for the rest of the tournament are available in full on the Online Darts YouTube.
Yeah, and they will be available in shorter clips for us on the Fallout Bar for future nights, won't they?
Future Fallout Bar. Dave, Phil, thank you very much for joining us on a rare appearance on the Fallout Bar for Phil Bars. His once annual appearance. Every year he appears on this show just for the one visit. In the chat room, thank you, folks, for not just for the last 13 days, but for all of the last year that you've joined in with everything that we do on the channel. And it really is made so much better by your interaction in the chat room and the crap and banter and predictions and everything else that you put in. Have an absolutely wonderful Christmas, whatever you do. I hope that yours is, well, no, I hope you're not as, I hope you haven't been as financially decimated as I have by Target Darts. No, have an absolutely wonderful Christmas, everybody. Thank you, Cam. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Phil. We have been, as always, Online Darts. We will be back on the 27th of December. Make sure you are connected to everything. Like it, subscribe it, tell you. All your family are going to visit at Christmas. While they're visiting, grab their devices, make sure they're subscribed, make sure your nan's getting notifications for the Fallout Bar. Have a lovely Christmas, everybody. Take care and good night.
Introducing the Paddy Power World Darts Championship.